This Easter, I was reminded of the loneliness of feeling solo. When I spent the weekend on my own with that deep sense of feeling unwanted. But 3 years after starting over and living solo, one thing I've realised is that living solo doesn't mean being lonely. So in this video, I'm going to share how I shifted from the loneliness of living solo into peace and loving living on my own. So hopefully this will help you if you find yourself living solo at midlife too. But the truth is, feeling lonely when you're living solo isn't about Easter or those special holidays. It's all about those evenings on your own, or when you've got news you want to share, or just having someone to share your life with. For many of us at midlife living solo, being alone in an empty house or in an empty room can stir up feelings of loneliness, especially in the early days when I just started living on my own. But I was reminded of that fact even at Easter time when I had to spend the weekend on my own, and I can tell you that the silence can be deafening. I'm at a different stage in life to those around me, and finances is limiting what I can do too, which means that living solo at the stage where I'm at now can be isolating, and it can be quite tough when those around you are part of a family or a community and you're having to do things on your own. So when I was left on my own, I did journal about this because I really hated feeling rejected and feeling unwanted. And it made me realise that the struggle comes from within. It wasn't about whether you were around people or not. It's about those feelings that comes back from the times when you were rejected in the past or something happened in your past, and your nervous system and your emotions registers it as feeling lonely. These are common experiences, but it doesn't mean that living on your own has to be a sad or lonely experience. If you are living solo, it can be so easy to get stuck in that feeling, like there's nothing to do or no one to share your life with. But what if, instead of focusing on the emptiness, you fill the emptiness with doing things that brings you joy? In the early days, I had a lot less money than I have now. But thankfully, there was a nature reserve nearby, so I used to go for long walks in the nature reserve. And that was my way of getting out of the four walls of my room. But I would also use that time to imagine what my ideal life would look like. This was my way of giving my subconscious mind and give myself a sense of goal to achieve as well, and something to work toward. In all honesty, I think even now as I'm rebuilding my life, it's just so easy to live within your day-to-day circumstances. And if you don't have anything that you're working towards, or a certain goal or positive images that motivates you to move toward, it can feel so easy to be stuck where you are. I'd also read or watch things on YouTube that help to lift my emotions and my moods, because I know that if I was just focusing on the emptiness of the feelings of being alone and lonely, it would just make things a lot worse. And if you wonder why I'm feeling breathless, it's because I'm going uphill. If finances isn't a limitation for you, why not make a list of things that you've always wanted to do when you were raising your family or with a partner? What did you want to do when you were younger? You can now try out all the hobbies that you've always wanted to try, but you never had time for. Use this time of being alone to focus on things that brings you joy. As a nutritional therapist, I know the importance of how our food affects our moods and the feelings of negativity. And I know how easy it is to grab convenience foods when you're feeling lonely and you just can't be bothered to do anything. But for me, living like that for too long can make those negative feelings and emotions even worse. I see cooking myself nutritious foods as a powerful act of self-love, and it's an investment in my well-being that doesn't depend on other people making me feel better about myself. So during Easter, I made a point of doing things that I wouldn't be able to do if I wasn't on my own. I savoured my coffee a bit longer. I also bought some foods that I wouldn't normally be able to eat, not because of not having the money for it, but more to do with the fact that being on my own at Easter meant that I could spend a lot longer time in the kitchen and savour the time of being able to cook slowly at my own pace and not have to rush to get out of the kitchen. The other way I'm making use of living solo and having the time on my own is doing YouTube. And I know that YouTube is probably not for a lot of people, but for me, I like being creative, and doing YouTube allows me to be creative in a different way. I can be creative in the kitchen, and I hope that some of the videos shows how I'm developing my creativity. And also because there's so much learning that's involved with YouTube. It's not just about turning on the camera and speaking. There's a lot of knowledge and skills, both in talking and storytelling, and also all the things that happen behind the camera. And for me, this is my way of keeping my brain active and slowing cognitive decline. On the flip side, living alone has given me a sense of freedom that you don't get when you're living with other people or you're living with a partner. I've now got the time to do what I really want to do that I never really had time for before. When you're living on your own, you've got nobody else to answer to. You've got nobody else to put their needs first. You can eat whatever you want without fearing judgment from people that may not agree with the types of foods that you want to eat. And I can come and do this whenever I want, or you can go for long walks whenever you want. You've got time to watch whatever films that you want to watch, and just live life the way you want to live it. Maybe learning how to dance, or you might want to learn a new language, learn how to cook, maybe start going to the gym when you never had the confidence to do something like that before. I think this time of living solo is a great time to try out things that you were never brave enough to do before. This isn't about doing things to cover up pain that you may be feeling. This is about finally giving yourself the love and nurturing that you were expecting from other people, but it never came. So use this time to give yourself the self-care and love that you never got. And this is something that I'm learning to do as time goes on. If you have just found yourself living on your own and finding it a bit lonely, take some time to find out how you can care for yourself. This is about nurturing you in a way that's right for you. Make a list of things that makes you feel good, not just on a surface level, but on a deeper level that helps you feel better about yourself without depending on other people to make you feel better. It could be as simple as enjoying a cup of tea or coffee, or maybe even a glass of wine. Or it could be as simple as journaling for 5 minutes, journaling about your feelings, journaling about the situation you're in. Just find a way to feel like you're nurturing yourself on your own. Of course, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. There are days when the silence can feel a bit heavy, and you might find longing for the company of others, missing the sound of laughter, or even just the presence of someone else in the room. And that is perfectly normal. But I found that balance is key. Much as I do enjoy having people around or going out into the big wide world, I do find that I look forward to going back into the nurturing safety and peace of my room. Living on your own is about learning how to embrace peaceful moments without feeling guilty about the lonely ones. Both emotions are valid, and both emotions have something to teach us. Over time, I learned to be with the loneliness without it defining my experience. One of the ways of combating loneliness is making connections with people outside your home. Even if you live alone, you don't have to be isolated. Reaching out to friends, joining groups, or even engaging in online communities may help you feel more connected. At the moment, I have shared with family, and this really does help me feel a lot less lonely. But also, there's the balance of I do enjoy going back to my room in the evening. And to be honest, if money wasn't so tight right now, I'd do what I did when I was living in London, and I would go and find meetup groups or have some sort of a social life, because I know that I am slightly isolated at the moment. And at times, I know it may not feel like it, but you do have the power to control your experience. You can either see this time as time for you to nurture yourself and look after yourself in the way that other people really can't, or you can also see it as a negative and focus on the loneliness, which really I don't advise, because why not use this time for you instead of allowing the situation to take over you? If you have found yourself living solo at midlife, I'd love to know how you balance loneliness with peace, and let me know in the description down below, and I'll see you in the next video.